All right, let's dive into one of the most fascinating parts of you, your body's secret command and control network. Now, this isn't about wires or nerves. This is a chemical system that directs everything from your mood to your growth, and it's happening right now. We're going to uncover the secrets of the endocrine system.
So think about it for a second. Your nervous system is lightning fast, right? An electrical signal zaps from your brain to your finger in an instant. But what about the slow stuff? What about the long-term changes, like growing taller through your teenage years or managing your energy day in and day out? Well, for that, you need a totally different kind of messaging service.
So, where do these long-term messages come from? They come from these amazing little organs called glands. You can think of them as the message factories of your body, constantly producing and shipping out the chemical instructions that basically run the whole show. But, as we're about to see, not all glands are created equal.
On one side, you've got your exocrine glands. These are pretty straightforward. Think of them as having little pipes, or ducts, that lead right to a specific surface. Sweat glands, salivary glands, they're perfect examples. But on the other side, we have the real stars of today's show, the endocrine glands. These guys are ductless. They don't need pipes. They just drop their powerful chemical messengers directly into your bloodstream, like putting a message in a bottle into a river that flows everywhere.
And this system isn't just in one place. It's spread out all over your body. You've got the hypothalamus and pituitary way up in the brain, the thyroid in your neck, the adrenal glands sitting right on top of your kidneys, and even your reproductive organs are part of the team. Each one has its own very specific job to do.
Okay, so if the glands are the factories, what exactly are they making? They're making hormones. These are the actual letters we've been talking about, the chemical messengers that travel through your bloodstream, carrying vital instructions to cells and organs that might be super far away. Now, here's the really mind-blowing part about hormones. They are incredibly potent. I mean, it only takes the tiniest amount to cause massive changes in your body. They are absolute masters of influence on a microscopic scale, changing how your cells, your tissues, and your organs behave. And these messengers come in a few different flavors, chemically speaking. And their chemical makeup is key to how they work. You've got peptides, like insulin. You have some that are derived from single amino acids, like that rush of adrenaline you feel. And then there's a really important group called steroids, which are actually built from cholesterol. This chemistry, as we'll see, determines whether a hormone has to knock on a cell's door or if it can just walk right in.
So how does a hormone floating around in your blood know where to go? Well, it works kind of like a lock and key. Every hormone is a key that's shaped to fit only a specific lock, which we call a receptor, on its target cell. Some hormones, like peptides, have their lock on the outside of the cell, on the cell surface. But the steroid hormones, they're different. They can slip right through the cell's wall and find their lock inside the cell, sometimes even inside the nucleus itself, where they can directly influence your DNA.
Okay, so with all this complex stuff going on, you have to ask, who's running the show? Who's in charge? Well, at the very top of the command chain, right there in your brain, you have the dynamic duo, the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Think of the hypothalamus as the CEO of the company. It's constantly monitoring everything in the body and making the big strategic decisions. Then it gives orders to its top manager, the pituitary gland. The pituitary then sends out its own set of hormones to direct all the other glands, the different departments, throughout the body. It's just a brilliant chain of command. But how does this system keep from going haywire? I mean, what stops it? It uses this genius process called a negative feedback loop. The best way to think about it is like the thermostat in your house. The hypothalamus tells the pituitary, "Hey, it's cold in here, turn on the heat." The pituitary then tells the target gland, let's say the thyroid, to start pumping out its hormone, which is the heat. Once the level of that hormone in your blood gets just right, that hormone itself sends a signal back up to the hypothalamus and pituitary that says, "Okay, we're good, you can turn off now." This keeps everything in perfect balance.
All right, enough with the theory. Let's look at some real-world examples of your endocrine system on the job, managing everything from immediate danger to your body's long-term plans for growth and energy.
First up, the classic fight or flight response. You know that feeling when you get a sudden scare? Your heart pounds, your senses sharpen? That's your endocrine system working with your nervous system. Your hypothalamus senses danger and uses a direct nerve signal, a super fast hotline, to tell your adrenal glands to flood your body with adrenaline. It's an immediate, powerful response designed to save your life.
But what about stress that sticks around for weeks or months? That's a different ballgame. For that, the hypothalamus kicks off that slower hormonal chain of command we talked about. It signals the pituitary, which then signals the outer part of the adrenal glands, to release a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol keeps your body on high alert, but here's the catch. Over long periods, high levels of cortisol can actually start to suppress your immune system.
Next, let's zoom in on that gland we mentioned earlier, the one that acts as your body's master thermostat, the thyroid. The hormones it makes basically control your metabolism. They decide how fast your cells burn fuel for energy. It's the engine room of your body.
And when that thermostat is off balance, you really feel it. If it produces too little hormone, that's hypothyroidism, everything slows down. You feel sluggish, you might gain weight. If it produces too much, hyperthyroidism, your engine is redlining. You feel nervous, you lose weight, you're hyperactive. And get this, some studies have suggested that almost half of all cases of depression might be linked back to poor thyroid function. It's that important.
And finally, how do we actually grow? Well, the pituitary gland releases something called growth hormone, or GH. But GH isn't the direct builder. It's more like the foreman on a construction site. It travels to the liver and tells the liver to produce another factor, called IGF-1. And that's the hormone that actually goes to your bones and muscles and says, okay, time to get bigger.
And you guessed it, balance here is absolutely critical. Not enough growth hormone in childhood can lead to dwarfism. Way too much can lead to gigantism. And if you get too much as an adult after your long bones have finished growing, it causes a condition called acromegaly, where the bones in your face, hands, and feet start to thicken because that growth energy has to go somewhere.
So, as we've seen, this quiet chemical network is constantly at work, profoundly shaping who we are, from how we react in a crisis to the very shape of our bodies. It pulls the strings on our mood, our energy, our health, every single day, which leaves us with a pretty deep question to think about. Where does all of this incredible chemistry end, and where does the person that you call you actually begin?